Charles Dickens is one of the most widely read and influential novelists in the English language. More than a century after his death, his stories continue to shape how the world understands poverty, justice, childhood, and social responsibility. From crowded Victorian streets to unforgettable characters, Dickens transformed personal hardship into timeless literature that still resonates across continents. Charles John Hutham Dickens was born in 1812 inches Portsmouth, England. His early life was marked not by comfort, but by instability. His father struggled with debt, and when Dickens was just 12 years old, his father was sent to debtor's prison. Young Charles was forced to leave school and work long hours in a blacking factory, labeling bottles in harsh conditions. This experience would leave a permanent mark on his imagination and conscience. Unlike many writers of his era, Dickens did not observe poverty from a distance. He lived it. The humiliation, loneliness, and exhaustion of child labor became emotional foundations for many of his later characters. Children who suffer silently, families crushed by systems they cannot escape, and institutions that lack compassion, these themes came directly from his own life. Dickens eventually returned to education and began working as a journalist. His sharp eye for detail, combined with a natural talent for storytelling, quickly set him apart. Journalism trained him to observe people closely, how they spoke, how they moved, how society treated them. These observations would later bring his fictional worlds vividly to life. His breakthrough came with the Pickwick Papers, published in serialized form. The format allowed readers to follow the story in installments, creating anticipation and emotional connection. Dickens became a literary celebrity almost overnight. Yet rather than retreat into comfort, he used his growing platform to expose injustice. In Oliver Twist, Dickens forced readers to confront the brutal realities of orphaned children and the cruelty of workhouses. The novel shocked Victorian society by portraying poverty not as a moral failure, but as a systemic injustice. For many readers in Britain and later in America, this was a radical shift in perspective. Dickens continued this approach in novel after novel. A Tale of Two Cities explored sacrifice and revolution, set against the violence of the French Revolution. Its opening lines remain among the most famous in literary history. The novel resonated deeply with readers in Europe and North America, reflecting fears of social collapse and hopes for renewal. In Great Expectations, Dickens turned inward, exploring ambition, guilt, and personal growth. Through the character of Pip, he examined how class aspirations can distort identity and relationships. The novel's emotional depth and psychological realism helped define what modern literary fiction would become. Beyond his novels, Dickens was a powerful public performer. He toured extensively in Britain and the United States, giving dramatic readings of his work to packed audiences. For many Americans, these tours made Dickens not just a writer, but a cultural figure, whose voice felt immediate and personal. Dickens wrote during the height of the Industrial Revolution, a time of rapid change, inequality, and uncertainty. His stories captured the tension between progress and human cost. That tension remains relevant today, which is why his work continues to be taught in schools and universities across the USA, Canada, and the UK. Despite his success, Dickens lived an intense and often exhausting life. He wrote relentlessly, travelled constantly, and struggled with personal relationships. He died in 1870 at the age of 58, leaving his final novel unfinished. Yet his influence did not end with his life. Today, Charles Dickens is remembered not only for his stories, but for his empathy. He gave voice to the poor, dignity to the overlooked, and complexity to human struggle. His characters feel alive because they were born from real pain, real observation, and deep moral concern. In reading Dickens, audiences across generations are reminded that storytelling can be both art and responsibility, and that literature can change how societies see themselves